Thank you very much, Tony, for those very stimulating thoughts. It strikes me the takeaway from for many people in this audience is that if the worst shipping markets in the last 30 years, in the last 3 or 4 years, hasn't finished you off, well, this disruption that's coming soon will do. So be warned. Or is it the fact that Tony has been smoking again in California? I think those are key issues we need to discuss in the moment. And to take that on, I'd like to invite the panelists up to join me on the panel. Elisabeth Grieg, Nikolas Tsakos, Khamis Buamim, and Geir Håøy. If they're around, please come up to the podium. Thank you. And Tony as well. Thanks very much, everyone. As everyone is obviously aware, that shipping has always been a very cyclical industry. However, unlike previous slumps that have perhaps had stronger V-shaped recoveries for a sustained period now, many markets have been challenged like never before. And a point I'd like to introduce Elisabeth and Nikos to comment on initially is, in the light of that, in the light of the financial strain in this business, do you feel that the threat or opportunity of disruption is heightened? And if so, where? Is the risk overstated or is the hype underestimated?
Well, first of all, if we are not being scared by Tony Seba, we should look at it as a good opportunity time. I think change has been a constant in our industry for decades in history. And I think those that survive has been the one that have seen that change happen and act to that change before it actually is too late. Right now, I think we are at the moment in history where it's a more profound change happening. We have the effects, of course, of digitalization. We have the effect of climate change and of urbanization. And I think that they will fundamentally change how we do our business. For example, the drive towards sustainability, I don't think there is any question. We will have to be responsible business and companies and industries also into the future if we are to survive. The digitalization will, of course, change who we are and how our business looks like, how our products looks like. But I don't think that global transportation will go away. And I think that's my key to start with. Global transportation will stay in some form or shape. And I do believe also with the urbanization and with the urban middle class that will grow in the next few years, means that we need more products, we need more transport, and we will be around. And those of us that have been able to see that change, we will be around with it and see it happening.
Thank you, Elisabeth. Nikos, you are obviously a tanker specialist, but you also have bulkers and even container ships at the fringes. Do you believe the business is ripe for disruption?
Well, today I'm wearing my tanker tie, representing Intertanko here, and I would like to start smoking what you're smoking. But I think your introduction is a lot of food for thought. We're trying to urge our tanker members not to order ships today. I think our market is overbuilt, and with ideas that are, I think, they're very, very close to what you're saying. Perhaps it's not in 5 or 10 years, but this disruption is coming. I think we need to rethink our ordering, because we still order ships for 20 or 25 years. I think I order the ships and my son has to pay the debt. So I think it is it is a good place to be in. So we are an industry where I agree with Elisabeth that containers and dry cargo ships are industries that will have a much longer future. We are worried in tankers. This is in the mind of most of our members. I mean, we're an industry that really we carry one commodity and the products of one commodity, and of course gas, LNG. So it is an industry that we are used. We have disruptions of every kind. We have geopolitical events like sanctions that have happened, and there are limitations in what we can actually move, like places from Russia, Iran, regional instability like in Libya, Syria, Iraq. Then we have external factors like Fukushima that changed our industry for quite a period, introducing the LNG as a big fact in our business. And of course, then we have groundbreaking changes in our trading patterns, like fracking and exports from the United States. So we are always on our feet, but I agree with you, we have to maintain this position.
Just a very quick follow-up with you both. You both represent the very strong strand of shipping of family-driven, family-controlled businesses. Do you feel the shift in business innovation and new business models puts that structure under threat because the need for consolidation, the need for greater financial and technical knowledge? Elisabeth?
Well, I don't think that we do have the luxury of being selfish in terms of what we believe in terms of ownership. I think we need to form alliances, we need to be partners, to create partnership. And for ourselves in Grieg Star, we just formed a new joint venture with our biggest competitors, Geir, and the new joint venture is called G2 Ocean. And we will have a much stronger position in our markets and are much better prepared for the future. And I think that is what is so important, that we use our competence and our ownership in a good way, but also that we do form partnership in order to meet the future.
Nikolas, are your family values threatened?
Well, I believe that the increased size of shipping and the values of actually changing the assets, you need external. You need, I would say, the external markets for sure, but as we call them in California, the actual startups are the values of the family group. So we cannot continue in shipping if we do not have the startups, which are the family-driven values that we have.
Thank you for that. Khamis, let me bring you in. Prior to joining Gulf Navigation, you had a long career, first in the oil business itself, and then taking charge of Dry Docks World. You've seen the business from the two sides, from the cargo owner to the service side, and now as a ship owner. Where do you perceive the cutting edge of this disruptive change coming from?
I think I agree to some extent, because change do happen. We notice that there is acceleration in change. It happens from time to time. This is one of them. Acceleration in change is happening, and the reason for that is economical. The financial situation as we see it today is difficult. We see also that the economy is not growing nor propelling the business forward, so people have to rethink. And usually comes those clever people who start thinking, okay, I need a new technology to redesign the global market. One of them is Uber, as you said, and others. And they used other tools that existed, okay, and influenced it differently. And the whole world just suddenly jumped and basically agreed to their concept. I think the shipping industry is going through transformation. Part of this transformation is actually cost-cutting processes. It's not because everybody loves technology, yes, but ship owners don't want the technology as much as they would like to reduce their cost. And we've seen it happening in many times. In addition to that, the haulage system grew beyond control. It became too huge. And everybody now is thinking, okay, what am I going to do with all these ships I own, all these huge mammoth, container ships and all this. So it became a problematic of how to curb cost. And therefore, you had a number of issues such as companies just having financial problems. So I think it's important that we see the disruptive in this area.
Excellent. Geir, could I turn to you? As head of Kongsberg, you're a very diverse group with interests in not only maritime, but defense and aerospace, where digital technologies play a very, very important role. First of all, you in recent weeks have teamed up with Yara to come up with this autonomous ship project. Frankly, do you see that as something of a niche product, something which is an interesting experiment, or do you believe there's a real business in that for you?
Yeah, before I comment on the Yara project, I would like to say thank you to Seba for the last slide. I definitely think this is not a niche thing. I think this is changes that we will see coming. I think also that this is not only related to technology, it's related to the business model change, and I think also it's related to regulation. As to the Yara project, I think this...
Could I just ask you though, do you see that principally as a cost-cutting factor, or is it a business innovation factor?
I think it's both actually. When it comes to the Yara, I think this is definitely, they are delivering fertilizer to grow food. I think they see it both as a cost competitive reason that they are doing it, but also an environment issue. I mean, with this project, they are moving 40,000 truck journeys every year from the roads in a very small city. And of course, this is a very important impact on the environment. But I think this is a huge opportunity for especially the short sea shipping. I'm not so sure about the long journeys. It will take some while at least before we see fully autonomous vessel going across the international oceans. But definitely this is an opportunity for the short sea shipping.
Indeed, key to this, of course, is the cost of cruise. Something like $43 billion a year out of $100 billion OPEX in this business is on cruise. Nikos, you've spoken passionately in the past about the need to maintain crew competence and for safety reasons and the depth of understanding in the business. Do you see that as a threat and a risk that the industry will need to manage?
No, I think I look at it as a natural progression. So I think this is a need we are facing today. We are building ships costing hundreds of millions or $200 million, specialized FSRUs, LNGs, super tankers. And we need to have the right people to run those ships. I mean, it does not matter how much technology we put on those ships. If we cannot have the right people, there's no wood for me to knock, but an accident would happen. And as you know, our industry is being disrupted by big accidents like the Exxon Valdez, and big changes happen. So what I see, there is a lack of highly trained personnel, and I do not believe that we will ever see a fully automated or unmanned VLCC going around the world, as we do not see a 767 or a 380 doing the same thing. But when our first vessel was a Liberty back in the 50s, we had 50 Greek officers and crew on board on that ship. VLCC today is down to 22 to 24. So I believe in our generation we will see vessels going down to 10 or 12 people. I believe there's going to be much more technology, less corrosive, materials on ships. So we will not need so many people on board, but we will need the right people to navigate and follow up the technology.
Elisabeth, could I ask you, partly in reference to the Yara project, some people argue that it will be the cargo owners that will principally lead this shift in business, both with the technology and the business models. Do you think owners need to be more proactive in the way they are addressing these issues in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to big alliances and to be partners with the cargo owners, which we are today. And of course, we are strong believers in the maritime cluster and the competence that's within that whole cluster. And I believe that we are there to offer our customers and the cargo owners a good match, and that we will add to the competence. But I have to just add something that I think it's an important question that hasn't been asked here, and that is, should we invest in ships at all? I mean, listening here to the different discussions that has been, it's millions and millions of dollars that is being, we need to invest, and we invest for long term, and we don't know how that ship is going to look like, really.
We have to protect you from the Korean shipyards around here if you continue, saying this.
And that's a perfect point to bring Tony in. Tony, you've suggested that shipping companies should see themselves as technology companies, not shipping companies, and you've also suggested that they should invest in Amazon rather than ships.
Road transportation is going down by 10x in cost over the next few years, 10 times.
Yep.
Every time in history, there has been a 10-time cost differential for a similar product or service. There has been a disruption every single time, and this time won't be different. So do you need to invest in ships? Yeah. The same ships that you have now? No. Right? I mean, you need a ship that's going to offer a 10x improvement in cost, not just incremental change, but dramatic change. And throughout history, disruptions have happened from the outside, not from within the industry. So Tesla basically is disrupting the car industry, not Ford or GM or Daimler. And Kodak, same thing, disrupted by outside, even though they knew the technology. So it's not the insiders who disrupt, it's outside companies. So they're going to be the ones who are going to bring in the ships of the future.
Could I just ask you to close? Could you give one key takeaway that people should be thinking about as they address these problems, which are so complex and multifaceted?
Yeah. So looking at the future as a linear extension of the past is basically calling for a disruption. Basically, it's tantamount to hey, I want to be disrupted. Technologies are changing dramatically, exponentially. The combinations of technologies and business models are changing things dramatically. And so my advice would be to look at the future. Basically, what would I do if I were to start something today? And look at the future of shipping or transportation or energy and so on, and start doing that, because what you have is essentially sunk cost. Somebody else will disrupt you. They won't care.
Julian, may I suggest something?
Please, Nikolas.
I think it would be very helpful for us if the cover of Trade Winds next week would read, tanker trade ends by 2030. So I think this
But we would be out of business. Thank you for those comments. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your contribution. Could you give them a round of applause, please?